The idea of a flat Earth might seem absurd to many people today, but it continues to be one of the most talked about conspiracy theories in modern times. Despite centuries of scientific evidence proving that our planet is an oblate spheroid, a surprising number of people still believe that the Earth is a flat, disc-shaped object. But why? What makes this theory so compelling to certain groups, and how has it managed to persist in an era where space travel, satellites, and global communication should make the truth undeniable? Conspiracy theories thrive on skepticism, and the flat Earth theory is no exception. At its core, it represents a deep distrust of authority, particularly scientific institutions, governments, and organizations like NASA. People who believe in this theory often argue that we have been systematically lied to, that images from space are fabricated, and that the true nature of our world is being hidden from us for reasons unknown. This mindset taps into a broader cultural phenomenon, one where individuals seek hidden truths that they believe have been kept from the general public. In a world where misinformation spreads rapidly and where many people feel disillusioned with the mainstream narrative, theories like this gain traction. Another reason why the flat Earth theory remains so captivating is its historical roots. Long before modern astronomy, various ancient civilizations viewed the Earth as a flat plane, surrounded by water or bordered by an impassable wall. While these ideas were later debunked by scientific discoveries, the nostalgia for a simpler, more intuitive view of the world remains strong for some. There is also an appeal in thinking that what we have been taught is false, as it places believers in a position of intellectual superiority, giving them a sense of control in a world where many feel powerless. The rise of the internet has played a crucial role in the resurgence of this theory. Online communities, social media platforms, and YouTube channels dedicated to flat Earth discussions have created an echo chamber where believers reinforce each other's views. Algorithm-driven recommendations often push people deeper into these belief systems, making it increasingly difficult for them to accept opposing viewpoints. When someone starts questioning mainstream science, they may quickly find themselves surrounded by content that confirms their doubts rather than challenging them with factual information. In many ways, the flat Earth theory is not just about the shape of the planet. It is a symptom of a larger issue, one that reflects the growing divide between scientific consensus and individual belief. It highlights how modern society struggles with misinformation, skepticism, and the human desire to uncover hidden truths. While the idea itself may seem laughable to some, the cultural and psychological factors behind it are worth exploring, as they reveal much about how people think, why they choose to believe certain narratives, and what this means for our understanding of truth in the digital age. The belief in a flat Earth is not just a modern internet phenomenon. It has roots that stretch back thousands of years, embedded in the cosmologies of various ancient civilizations. Before the advent of scientific reasoning and advanced astronomical tools, early humans relied on their immediate observations to make sense of the world around them. To the naked eye, the ground appears flat, and the sun, moon, and stars seem to revolve around us in a predictable cycle. This led many ancient cultures to assume that the Earth was a flat, stationary plane, with the heavens moving above it. Ancient cultures across the world held different interpretations of the Earth's shape, often tied to their religious or mythological beliefs. The ancient Egyptians, for example, envisioned the world as a flat plane covered by a heavenly dome. In Mesopotamian culture, the Earth was perceived as a disk surrounded by an endless ocean, a belief that was mirrored in early Hebrew cosmology as well. Similarly, Hindu and Buddhist texts describe the Earth as a vast, flat surface supported by giant animals or pillars, a recurring motif in various mythologies. These early ideas were based on human perception rather than empirical evidence. One of the most well-documented flat Earth models comes from ancient Greece. The early Greeks initially believed the Earth was flat, with figures like Anaximander proposing that it was a cylindrical shape floating in space. However, as their understanding of astronomy advanced, Greek thinkers like Pythagoras and later Aristotle provided strong evidence that the Earth was, in fact, a sphere. Aristotle, in particular, noted that during a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow on the moon was always round, something that could only be explained if the Earth were a sphere. Despite these discoveries, the idea of a flat Earth persisted in various parts of the world for centuries. Many ancient cultures were isolated from scientific advancements, and religious doctrines often reinforced flat Earth beliefs. In medieval Europe, for example, biblical interpretations led some scholars to maintain the view of a flat, stationary Earth, even though most educated individuals in the Middle Ages actually accepted the idea of a spherical Earth. Contrary to the popular myth that people in the Middle Ages believed in a flat Earth, scholars from that time largely understood the Earth's true shape. It is fascinating to see how ideas about the shape of our world evolved over time. The flat Earth belief, while mostly abandoned by mainstream science after the scientific revolution, remained embedded in folklore and religious interpretations. Today, when people argue in favor of a flat Earth, they often appeal to these ancient beliefs as evidence that our ancestors knew something that modern scientists have supposedly ignored. Understanding the origins of the flat Earth concept helps us see why some individuals still find the theory compelling, even in an age where we have overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The idea that the Earth is at the center of the universe was not always tied to a belief in a flat world, but it played a crucial role in shaping early cosmology. The geocentric model, which places the Earth as the stationary focal point of all celestial motion, was widely accepted in ancient civilizations and reinforced by some of the greatest minds in history. This belief was not necessarily based on ignorance but rather on observations that, at first glance, seemed to confirm it. The sun appeared to rise and set each day, and the stars revolved in a predictable pattern. To ancient observers, this was compelling evidence that the Earth was motionless while everything else moved around it. One of the strongest early advocates of the geocentric model was the Greek philosopher Claudius Ptolemy, whose system of planetary motion dominated scientific thought for over 1,000 years. Ptolemy's model presented a structured universe where the sun, moon, and planets orbited the Earth in complex patterns known as epicycles. While the Ptolemaic system did not explicitly claim that the Earth was flat, it shared a fundamental similarity with flat Earth beliefs. It positioned humanity at the center of existence. This idea was deeply comforting, as it suggested that the universe was designed with human beings as its focal point. Religious institutions played a significant role in preserving and enforcing the geocentric model. Many religious texts, when interpreted literally, appeared to support the idea of an Earth that was fixed and unmovable. This belief aligned with a broader worldview that saw humans as the pinnacle of creation, with the cosmos designed around them. The idea that the Earth was just one of many celestial bodies moving through an infinite universe was not only scientifically challenging but also philosophically unsettling for many people. As a result, opposition to alternative cosmological models remained strong for centuries. As scientific knowledge expanded, the geocentric model came under scrutiny. Nicolaus Copernicus, a Renaissance mathematician and astronomer, proposed a revolutionary idea: the heliocentric model, where the Earth and other planets orbited the Sun. This theory, though controversial, was later supported by the work of Galileo Galilei and Johannes Kepler. Galileo's use of the telescope provided concrete evidence that celestial bodies, such as Jupiter's moons, did not revolve around the Earth but had their own independent orbits. This discovery dealt a serious blow to the geocentric worldview and paved the way for modern astronomy. Despite the overwhelming evidence supporting the heliocentric model, resistance to the idea persisted for centuries. The Catholic Church famously opposed Galileo's findings, placing him under house arrest for promoting what was considered heretical thought. Even today, remnants of the old geocentric worldview exist within certain fringe groups who argue against modern astronomy. While mainstream flat Earth theories today do not necessarily endorse the Ptolemaic system, they share a similar underlying mistrust of scientific authority. This resistance to established knowledge is a recurring theme in many conspiracy theories, including the Flat Earth movement itself. The modern revival of the Flat Earth theory did not happen overnight. While the idea had largely faded into obscurity after the scientific revolution, it began to re-emerge in the 19th century, fueled by skepticism toward mainstream science and a desire to challenge established knowledge. One of the key figures in this revival was Samuel Robotham, an English writer and self-proclaimed scientist who developed what he called zetetic astronomy. Robotham's ideas laid the foundation for the modern flat Earth movement and remain influential among believers today. Robotham argued that the Earth was not a sphere but a flat, disc-shaped plane with the North Pole at its center and an enormous ice wall surrounding the outer edges. He conducted what he claimed were scientific experiments to prove his theory, most notably the Bedford-level experiment, in which he observed a boat moving along a straight canal and declared that no curvature could be detected. While mainstream scientists quickly debunked his methods, his work found an audience among those who distrusted the scientific establishment. After Robotham's death, his followers continued promoting his ideas. The Universal Zetetic Society was founded in the late 19th century to spread the message, and over time, it evolved into what is now known as the Flat Earth Society. Although the society remained relatively obscure for much of the 20th century, it managed to persist through books, pamphlets, and small meetings among believers. The rise of space travel in the mid-20th century presented a major challenge to the Flat Earth movement, as images of Earth from space provided clear evidence of its spherical shape. Nevertheless, some adherents dismissed these images as hoaxes or propaganda designed to maintain the illusion of a globe. Despite these setbacks, the movement found new life with the advent of the Internet. Online forums and social media allowed Flat Earth believers to connect, share theories, and reinforce their ideas within closed communities. As distrust in governments and scientific institutions grew in the 21st century, particularly with the spread of conspiracy culture, the Flat Earth theory experienced an unprecedented resurgence. Today, it is no longer a relic of the past but a widely discussed and highly polarizing topic, with believers engaging in debates, hosting conferences, and even launching their own experiments to prove their claims. What makes this revival so intriguing is the way it taps into broader cultural and psychological phenomena. The rise of the Internet has made it easier than ever to challenge established facts, and people who feel alienated from mainstream narratives often seek alternative explanations that align with their personal experiences. The Flat Earth theory has become a symbol of defiance against what some perceive as an overly controlling and deceptive scientific establishment. By understanding the movement's modern revival, we gain insight into how misinformation spreads and why certain beliefs, no matter how improbable, continue to persist in the digital age. One of the fundamental aspects of the Flat Earth theory is the set of claims that its proponents use to argue against the widely accepted scientific understanding of our planet's shape. Many of these claims focus on what can be observed with the naked eye, appealing to common sense rather than complex scientific principles. To believers, these arguments appear to be self-evident truths, reinforcing the idea that mainstream science is intentionally deceptive. But what exactly are the core arguments that flat earthers use to support their belief? One of the most frequently cited points by flat earthers is that the horizon always appears to be perfectly flat. They argue that if the Earth were truly a sphere, there should be a noticeable curvature, yet when standing on a vast open landscape, no such curvature is visible. This, they claim, is proof that the Earth is not round but a flat plane extending indefinitely. While scientists explain this phenomenon as a result of the Earth's immense size and the limitations of human vision, flat Earth supporters insist that what they see with their own eyes should be taken as undeniable evidence. Another argument revolves around the concept of water always finding its level. According to flat earthers, bodies of water do not curve or bend, and since the oceans appear flat when viewed from the shore, this must mean that the entire Earth is flat. They reject the scientific explanation that gravity holds water to the surface of a spherical planet, insisting instead that water behaves as it does because the Earth itself is level. This interpretation, however, ignores how gravity functions on a massive scale and how fluid dynamics actually work. Flat earthers also often challenge the validity of photographs and videos taken from space. They argue that images from NASA and other space agencies are fabricated using CGI and Photoshop to perpetuate the lie of a spherical Earth. To them, inconsistencies in cloud formations, lighting effects, and minor distortions in images serve as evidence that all space footage is staged. This claim ties into broader conspiracy theories that suggest the entire space industry is an elaborate hoax designed to control public perception. Perhaps one of the more intriguing arguments put forth by flat Earth proponents is the belief that airline flight paths do not make sense on a spherical Earth. They point to certain routes, particularly long-haul flights in the southern hemisphere, that appear to take unusual or indirect paths when viewed on a traditional globe. According to them, these flight patterns only make sense if the Earth were actually a flat disk rather than a sphere. However, this argument fails to account for practical factors such as prevailing winds, fuel efficiency, and geopolitical restrictions that dictate airline routes. While these claims may seem compelling to those who are predisposed to distrust scientific institutions, they often rely on misunderstandings of physics, perspective, and modern technology. Despite being debunked countless times, they continue to be shared and reinforced within flat Earth communities. Understanding these claims is crucial in dissecting why the theory persists and how misinformation can spread in an age where scientific knowledge is more accessible than ever. The flat Earth model is not just a simple claim that the Earth is a flat disk. It is an elaborate system of alternative explanations for how the world works. To those who adhere to this belief, traditional physics and astronomy are either deeply flawed or intentionally misleading. Instead, they propose an entirely different model of reality, one where the laws of nature operate in ways that contradict what is taught in schools and accepted by mainstream scientists. One of the most common ideas within the flat Earth model is that the Earth is a vast, flat plane with the North Pole at its center. According to this view, Antarctica is not a continent but a massive ice wall encircling the outer edges of the world, preventing people from reaching whatever lies beyond. Some claim that this ice wall is patrolled by secret military forces to keep the truth hidden from the public. In this model, the Sun and the Moon are not gigantic celestial bodies millions of miles away but much smaller and closer to Earth. Some flat earthers claim that the Sun and Moon are only a few thousand miles above the Earth and move in circular patterns above the flat plane, like spotlights illuminating different parts of the world. This perspective attempts to explain the cycle of day and night without requiring a spherical Earth. Another key element of the flat Earth model is the idea that gravity does not exist in the way modern science describes it. Instead of a force pulling objects toward the center of a massive planet, flat earthers argue that what we perceive as gravity is actually just the effect of density and buoyancy. According to this logic, objects fall because they are heavier than the air around them, not because of an invisible force pulling them down. Despite the internal inconsistencies in the flat Earth model, many who believe in it are deeply invested in this alternative worldview. It is not just about rejecting a spherical Earth. It is about questioning everything we have been taught and constructing an entirely new understanding of reality. Flat earthers often claim that their beliefs are based on observable evidence rather than scientific dogma. They frequently cite what they consider to be undeniable proofs that the Earth is not a globe, but rather a flat, stationary plane. These so-called proofs typically rely on direct observation, intuition, and personal experimentation rather than scientific methodology. One of the most frequently mentioned pieces of evidence is the idea that the horizon always appears to be perfectly level. According to flat earthers, if the Earth were truly a sphere, there should be an obvious curvature, yet when one looks out across the ocean or a vast landscape, the horizon appears to be completely flat. This argument ignores the fact that the Earth is so large that its curvature is not easily visible from ground level. Another popular claim is that water always finds its level, meaning that oceans, lakes, and rivers should conform to a flat surface. Flat earthers argue that if the Earth were a sphere, water should curve around it, yet no one observes water bending over the horizon. This misunderstanding arises from a misinterpretation of how gravity works. Gravity pulls objects toward the center of the Earth, giving large bodies of water their spherical shape. Flat earthers also challenge the validity of images taken from space, arguing that they are all computer-generated or manipulated. They claim that NASA and other space agencies are engaged in a massive cover-up, fabricating pictures of a round Earth to maintain the deception. Proponents of this theory often analyze space images, looking for supposed inconsistencies in cloud formations, lighting effects, or minor distortions. One of the more elaborate claims made by flat earthers is that airline flight paths do not make sense if the Earth is a sphere. They argue that certain direct flights, particularly those in the southern hemisphere, take routes that only make sense if the Earth were flat. This claim, however, overlooks numerous factors such as wind patterns, air traffic regulations, and the availability of emergency landing locations. Despite being debunked countless times, these claims persist because they appeal to a sense of skepticism and distrust toward mainstream science. Flat Earth proponents see themselves as independent thinkers who are uncovering hidden truths, making their movement resistant to logical arguments and empirical evidence. A major component of the flat Earth theory is the belief that NASA and other space agencies are actively involved in a grand conspiracy to conceal the true nature of our world. Flat earthers argue that all images of the Earth from space are fabricated, that space travel itself is a hoax, and that the scientific community is complicit in maintaining a false narrative. One of the core beliefs among flat Earth proponents is that NASA fakes all space imagery. They claim that every photograph and video showing a spherical Earth is the product of computer-generated imagery, CGI, and Photoshop manipulation. Flat earthers scrutinize NASA's photos, pointing out what they believe are inconsistencies in cloud patterns, lighting effects, and distortions. Another major point in this conspiracy theory is the idea that the Apollo moon landings were staged. Many flat earthers believe that the U.S. government faked the 1969 moon landing and subsequent missions, arguing that the footage contains too many anomalies to be real. They cite issues like the apparent waving of the American flag, inconsistent shadows, and the lack of visible stars in the lunar sky. Flat earthers also argue that space itself is a fabrication. Some believe that the sky above us is not an infinite universe but rather a vast dome or firmament that encloses the Earth. According to this perspective, everything we see in the night sky, stars, planets, and even the sun and moon, are simply projections or lights embedded within this dome. Perhaps the most perplexing aspect of this conspiracy theory is the question of motive. Why would NASA, governments, and the scientific community go to such lengths to hide the true shape of the Earth? Flat earthers suggest a variety of explanations, ranging from financial incentives to more abstract ideas about control and deception. While these ideas may seem outlandish, they serve an important function in the flat Earth belief system. By positioning NASA and the scientific community as deceptive entities, flat earthers create a justification for dismissing any evidence that contradicts their views. This skepticism extends beyond space exploration, influencing their perception of science, history, and authority as a whole. The flat Earth theory does not exist in isolation. It is often intertwined with broader ideas about global deception and mass manipulation. Flat earthers do not merely believe that the shape of the Earth is being hidden. They believe that this falsehood is part of a much larger conspiracy that involves world governments, space agencies, and scientific institutions. One of the most common arguments made by flat earthers is that the globe model exists to keep humanity under control. They claim that by convincing people that the Earth is a small planet among billions in an infinite universe, governments and elites can diminish the significance of human existence. According to this perspective, if people understood that the Earth is actually flat and at the center of creation, they would realize their true importance and begin to question other mainstream narratives. Another explanation given by flat earthers is that the deception is financially motivated. They argue that space agencies like NASA receive billions of dollars in funding each year, despite producing what they see as little tangible evidence of space exploration. In their view, the entire space industry is a fraudulent enterprise designed to funnel money into secret projects while maintaining the illusion of scientific progress. Religious and philosophical elements also play a significant role in the flat Earth belief system. Some flat earthers interpret the globe model as an attempt to discredit religious teachings that describe a flat, enclosed Earth. They see the heliocentric model as an effort to replace spiritual truth with secular science, thus promoting atheism and materialism. A more extreme faction of flat earthers even believes that the deception is linked to broader New World Order conspiracies. They argue that the global elite, whether it be governments, secret societies, or powerful corporations, have a vested interest in keeping humanity ignorant. Some suggest that knowledge of the true nature of the Earth would grant people greater power and freedom, which those in control want to suppress. Ultimately, the belief in a grand global conspiracy helps reinforce the flat Earth mindset. The more mainstream science, media, and governments refute the theory, the more convinced its followers become that they are uncovering hidden truths. This cycle of skepticism and mistrust makes it extremely difficult to challenge their worldview, as any attempt to debunk their claims is seen as further proof that the conspiracy exists. Despite the persistence of the flat Earth theory, mainstream science has provided overwhelming evidence that the Earth is a sphere. For centuries, scientists, explorers, and engineers have built upon centuries of research to confirm the globe model, relying on everything from mathematical calculations to direct observations. While flat earthers dismiss this evidence as fabricated or misleading, the scientific method remains the most reliable way to determine objective truth. One of the oldest and most straightforward proofs of a spherical Earth comes from ancient Greek astronomy. Over 2,000 years ago, the philosopher Aristotle observed that during a lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow cast on the Moon was always round. If the Earth were flat, the shadow would appear as a straight line or a different shape depending on its orientation. This simple observation provided early evidence that the Earth was a sphere long before the advent of modern technology. Another strong proof comes from the behavior of ships on the ocean. When a ship moves away from shore, the hull disappears first, followed by the mast and sails. This phenomenon occurs because the Earth's surface is curved. If it were flat, the entire ship would remain visible as it moves farther away. This effect has been documented for centuries by sailors and continues to be observed today. Perhaps the most conclusive proof comes from space travel. Since the 20th century, astronauts have taken countless images of the Earth from orbit, showing a perfectly round planet. Satellites continuously provide data confirming Earth's curvature, and global positioning systems, GPS, rely on this spherical model to function accurately. While flat earthers argue that all space imagery is faked, the sheer volume of independent sources confirming the same reality makes this claim highly implausible. Another undeniable piece of evidence is the Coriolis effect, which describes how Earth's rotation influences weather patterns and ocean currents. This effect causes storms to rotate in different directions depending on the hemisphere, counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. If the Earth were flat, such patterns would not exist. Ultimately, the scientific evidence for a spherical Earth is extensive, consistent, and independently verifiable. The fact that people still dispute this reality speaks to the power of misinformation and the appeal of questioning authority. While skepticism is healthy in science, rejecting well-documented evidence in favor of personal intuition can lead to false conclusions. The globe model is not a conspiracy. It is a fundamental truth supported by centuries of discovery and technological advancement. The persistence of the flat Earth theory raises an important question. Why do some people continue to believe in something that has been thoroughly debunked by science? The answer lies not just in skepticism toward authority, but in deeper psychological and social factors that influence human belief systems. Understanding the psychology behind flat Earth belief helps explain why it remains so appealing to some individuals despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. One of the most significant psychological factors at play is confirmation bias. This is the tendency for people to seek out and interpret information in a way that supports their pre-existing beliefs while ignoring or dismissing evidence that contradicts them. Flat earthers actively look for arguments that reinforce their worldview, whether through online videos, selective interpretations of experiments, or discussions within their own communities. Distrust of authority is another major factor that fuels the flat Earth movement. Many believers have a deep-seated suspicion of government agencies, scientists, and academic institutions, seeing them as part of a larger system designed to deceive the public. This mistrust often stems from real historical examples of corruption and misinformation, but it is misapplied to scientific fields where transparency and peer review are fundamental principles. Another psychological phenomenon at play is the need for control and understanding in an uncertain world. Conspiracy theories, including flat Earth beliefs, offer a simplified explanation for complex issues, giving believers a sense of clarity and purpose. In a time when information is more abundant than ever, paradoxically, many people feel overwhelmed and struggle to discern credible sources from misinformation. Social dynamics also play a key role in reinforcing flat Earth beliefs. Online communities allow like-minded individuals to connect and validate each other's perspectives, creating echo chambers where dissenting opinions are quickly dismissed or ridiculed. Ultimately, the flat Earth theory is not just about questioning science. It is a reflection of broader human tendencies toward skepticism, cognitive biases, and the desire for understanding. While it may seem baffling to those on the outside, it is important to recognize that challenging these beliefs requires more than just presenting facts. The Internet has played a crucial role in the modern resurgence of the flat Earth theory. While the belief itself dates back centuries, the rise of social media, online forums, and video sharing platforms has allowed flat earthers to connect, share their ideas, and reinforce their worldview in ways that were never before possible. One of the primary reasons the flat Earth theory has thrived online is the structure of social media algorithms. Platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter prioritize content that generates engagement, meaning videos and posts that provoke strong reactions, whether agreement or outrage, are more likely to be promoted. YouTube, in particular, has been a breeding ground for flat Earth content. Many believers describe their entry into the movement as beginning with a single video that piqued their curiosity. From there, they were led down a rabbit hole of related content, each video reinforcing the idea that the Earth is not a globe. Facebook groups and online forums also play a significant role in sustaining the flat Earth community. These digital spaces create echo chambers where like-minded individuals can share ideas without facing significant opposition. Within these groups, skepticism of mainstream science is encouraged, and any dissenting voices are often dismissed or banned. Another factor contributing to the spread of flat Earth beliefs online is the rise of influential figures within the movement. Some YouTubers and social media personalities have built entire brands around promoting the theory, gaining followers and financial support through ad revenue, donations, and merchandise sales. The role of the internet in spreading flat Earth beliefs highlights the broader challenge of combating misinformation in the digital age. With so much information available, it is easier than ever for people to find sources that confirm their biases while dismissing contradictory evidence. The flat Earth theory has not only persisted through centuries but has also made its way into popular culture. From documentaries and books to social media debates and celebrity endorsements, the idea of a flat Earth has become more than just a fringe belief. It has become a cultural phenomenon. While the majority of people dismiss it as pseudoscience, its presence in entertainment and media has contributed to its continued relevance in the modern world. One of the most notable ways the flat Earth theory has infiltrated popular culture is through documentaries. Films like Behind the Curve explore the psychology of flat earthers, offering insights into why people cling to such beliefs despite overwhelming scientific evidence. Rather than simply mocking the movement, these documentaries highlight the social and psychological aspects that drive individuals to reject mainstream science. Celebrity endorsements have also played a role in keeping the flat Earth theory in the public eye. Figures like NBA player Kyrie Irving and rapper B have made headlines by expressing doubts about the official narrative of a spherical Earth. Flat Earth debates have also become a popular topic on online platforms such as YouTube and TikTok. Content creators dedicated to debunking conspiracy theories frequently engage with flat earthers, attempting to challenge their arguments with scientific evidence. Memes and satire have further cemented the flat Earth theory as a cultural talking point. While most people share flat Earth-related memes as a joke, their widespread circulation ensures that the topic remains relevant. Satirical takes on flat earthers often highlight the absurdity of the belief, yet they also inadvertently contribute to its longevity by keeping it in public discourse. Despite its presence in pop culture, the flat Earth theory remains a fringe belief with little credibility in the scientific community. However, its endurance serves as a reminder of the power of media, social influence, and the human desire to question authority. Whether taken seriously or as a joke, the discussion surrounding flat Earth continues to captivate audiences, demonstrating that conspiracy theories, no matter how improbable, can have a lasting impact on society. As the discussion around the flat Earth theory continues, it raises broader questions about the nature of belief, skepticism, and the role of science in modern society. While most people dismiss the theory outright, its persistence serves as a reminder that misinformation and distrust in authority remain significant challenges. One of the biggest lessons to take away from the flat Earth phenomenon is that simply presenting facts is not always enough to change minds. People who believe in conspiracy theories are often emotionally invested in their worldview, making it difficult to accept contradictory information. Education and media literacy play a crucial role in combating the spread of pseudoscience. Teaching people how to evaluate sources, recognize logical fallacies, and think critically about information they encounter can help prevent them from falling into the traps of conspiracy thinking. The flat Earth theory also highlights the impact of social dynamics on belief formation. Online communities provide a sense of belonging, reinforcing beliefs through collective validation. Looking forward, The persistence of flat Earth beliefs suggests that similar conspiracy theories will continue to emerge in different forms. The internet provides an endless supply of information, both credible and misleading, allowing people to build their own versions of reality. Ultimately, the flat Earth theory is not just about the shape of the planet. It is about how people process information, whom they trust, and what they choose to believe. Whether it is flat Earth, moon landing denial, or other conspiracy theories, the same psychological and social patterns apply. By recognizing these factors, we can foster better discussions, improve science communication, and build a more informed society that values evidence over speculation.